What's up, y'all? Welcome to day 2 of the video blog. How's everything going? So far, it looks like I've got 3 subscribers, so that's one step closer to being famous than I was yesterday. Right now, it looks like those subscribers are Emily Young, Kyle Curtis, and Sean Watkins. So, big shout out for helping me launch this shit. Alright, so today's subject. I wanted to talk about this class that I'm taking right now. It is called Social Stratification, aka SOC 330. I'm not taking it necessarily for my major. It's like a class, it's like a required elective type class. I don't know. It sounded cool, but it's actually really weird. So far, we've spent each day of class focusing on a certain subject of social stratification, such as race, gender, sexual orientation, class, disabilities, level of education, things that set people apart in society, things that divide you from your friends sometimes even. All right. But what I really wanted to talk about was the book that we're reading for this class. I started reading it last night. It's called Privilege, Power, and Difference by Alan G. Johnson. So far I've only read a chapter 2, but he makes some good freaking points. And right here where it says OMG, because I couldn't highlight the whole, I could highlight the whole thing if I wanted to, but this makes it stand out a little more. I just wanted to read you guys this passage. Okay, ready? It's also hard not to wonder about my own species, which by comparison is deeply troubled most of the time. I suspect we don't have to be, because even though I'm trained as a sociologist to see the complexity of things, it seems to me that we're also fairly simple. Deep in our bones, for example, we are social beings. There's no escaping it. We can't survive on our own when we're young, and it doesn't get a whole lot easier later on. We need to feel that we belong to something bigger than ourselves, whether it's family, or a team, or a society. We look to other people to tell us what we measure up, or that we measure up, that we matter, that we're okay. We have a huge capacity to be creative and generous and loving. We spin stories, we make art and music, we help children turn into adults, we save one another in countless ways, and we ease our loved ones into death when the time comes. We have large brains and opposable thumbs and are incredibly clever in how we use them. I'm not sure if we're the only species with a sense of humor. I think I've known dogs to laugh, but we've certainly made the most of it, and we're astonishingly adaptable. We can figure out how to live just about anywhere under almost any conditions you could imagine. We can take in the strange and unfamiliar and learn to understand and embrace it. Whether it's a new language or an odd food or the mysteries of death and dying or the person sitting next to us on the crosstown bus who doesn't look like anyone we've ever seen before. For all our potential, you think we could manage to get along with each other. By that, I don't mean love one another in some idealistic way. We don't need to love one another or even like one another, to work together or just to share space in the world. I also don't mean something as minimal as mere tolerance or refraining from overt violence. I mean that you'd think we could treat one another with decency and respect and appreciate, if not support, the best we have in us. It's what I imagine Rodney King meant by, can't we all just get along? When I read this, I took it as a really powerful passage to be thinking about, like, maybe I'm overdoing it, but he's making so much sense right now. Why can't we all just get along? We talked about this chapter a little bit in class today, but before long, my professor, she wanted to bring up, like, people cheating in class and people making comments about how she's a bitch, and, like, everyone got really mad at each other. Everybody started, like, screaming and, like, saying, like, okay, because here's what I'm pretty sure everyone was arguing about. Like, we had an exam on Wednesday, we had our midterm, and she, like, the night before, she sent us an email and she said, hey, I'm going to let you guys use a note card, like an index card on your, how teachers let you, like, write as much as you can on the note card, and then you can, like, use it as reference during the exam, kind of like open book, but it's just open note card. Anyway, so that was awesome. Okay, well, the next day on the test, it was like, yeah, you have to turn in your note card and you lose 5 points if you don't have one. People started freaking out. They were like, okay, well, we didn't get this email, or I didn't write one because I knew the material so well that I didn't think I'd need one. Or just people were really mad about it, and it's like, ugh, because it is messed up. Like, why would you lose 5 points for not having an index card? But anyway, so today she's just bringing up like um, the integrity of our class, because this class is really touchy because we're talking about these things such as race, gender, sexuality, and everybody has their own opinions, and it's kind of um, these subjects that are really hard to talk about out loud. So, we try to be a really open class, but she starts talking about the integrity and the integrity of our class and how people are cheating, and people are just admitting to it. They're like, oh, I wasn't trying to cheat when I did, she put some examples on her PowerPoint, and they were like, oh, I wasn't trying to cheat when I wrote that. I was just trying to, we didn't know we couldn't write that, or. So she was like, fine, whatever. Okay, and then people start getting really heated, like back to the index card thing. Like, I really tried to block it out because it was super annoying, and I'm just sitting in class for like 30 minutes just watching these people like freak out. They're like, you talk too much. You are talking too much about these note cards and blah blah blah. And I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, we're in this class, and every single day we talk about black people and white people, and guys do this, girls do that, or I'm gay, or it's hard to be gay. And then as soon as we talk about something as petty as like this note card thing, everyone starts freaking out. So the conclusion, not the conclusion, but the point that this has brought me to, what I've observed in this class, is that I don't think we're ever gonna get along. I think, just like, what's this guy's name? Just like Alan Johnson is saying, like, you know, we have all these great abilities, like technology, building buildings, um, like you said, making art and music, having a family. Um, it's like the family is the number one. Um, it's like your number one thing in your life, and I guess it's like that for animals too. But it's so much more complex as a human. Everything is, and I just agree with him in what he's saying when he says that these animals like dogs and cats and wild cheetahs and shit can get along and help each other and just like work in this systematic manner. Whereas humans, we're so smart and we're so advanced, but that's the one concept that we can't get down. We can't, like, yeah, sure, we have these governments and these societies that exist, that are so, like I said, complex and put together, and just all kinds of stuff going on all the time, especially in the United States. And then the one thing we can't do is just like listen to each other's opinions and just like listen to what the other person has to say. That's my biggest problem with this class, is that I like having these discussions and I like being able to talk about it, but people just open their mouths and they don't have any empathy towards the opposite party or the people that they're talking to, even if they do agree with what they're saying. It's like, I feel like humans have such a difficult time just taking a step back for a second and getting to know, what's going on before they like make this assumption or create this strong, carved in stone opinion about what's going on. Um, I've been talking for a really long time, but all in all, I think people should learn how to get along, and I think that's our first step to maybe the possibility of having peace in the world. I didn't mean for this to get this sad, but once again, this book is called Privilege, Power, and Difference by Alan Johnson, but don't take sociology at 3:30. It's really not that great, but the book's really good, so maybe you should get the book. Anyway, have a great day, everyone. Maybe I'll be back later with another blog.